Hello everyone. Today we will start with the seventh chapter named Non-Cooperation Movement. So as we had seen during the different phases, different struggle and different movement, we had started to gain our independence. So non-cooperation movement also played a very important role, and this movement was started by Mahatma Gandhi, and how he had started this movement by the belief of satyagraha we will discuss in this chapter. So what exactly is the non-cooperation movement? Gandhi ji believes that if we won't cooperate or we won't support Britishers, they won't able to survive or they won't able to exist in our country. So he requested the people or these Indians to not support the British policies or the British education or the British rule, so that we can achieve our independence. So what are the important steps or the important measures that has been taken at that time, we will discuss in this chapter. In the Indian national movement, the period from 1920 to 1947 is known as the Gandhian era. As we all know, after the death of Lokmanya Tilak in 1920, the responsibility of the freedom struggle moved towards the Mahatma Gandhi. And after 1920, Mahatma Gandhi took the responsibility and he leaded the our freedom struggle. And the period till we got the independence is called as the Gandhian era. Era we all know it's called a period, so it's a Gandhian period. Okay, so in the Indian national movement, the period from 1920 to 1947 is known as the Gandhian era. After the death of Lokmanya Tilak in 1920, the reins of national movement went into the hands of Mahatma Gandhi. He gave a new direction to the freedom movement with the principles of truth, non-violence and satyagraha. As we all know, Gandhiji is a follower of non-violence and truth. He introduced a new way called satyagraha, where people can show their agitation against the government in a peaceful manner. They no need to raise the arms or they no need to create violence. So in this way, Gandhiji introduced this new principle in the freedom struggle. Due to the influential leadership, what is influential means effective, हिंदी में कहते हैं ना असरदार. तो गांधी जी का जो तरीका था वो बहुत ज़्यादा इफेक्टिव था, जिससे ब्रिटिशर्स को नहीं भी चाहकर गांधी जी की बात सुननी पड़ती थी. Sorry. So, due to the influential leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, the national movement became more comprehensive. What is comprehensive? Comprehensive means broad, huge. So, Gandhi ji gained nationwide support from the different parts or every corner of the country. This led to the beginning of a new era in the freedom movement of India. So, in this way, it has been a new kind of movement that's seen all over the country. So, before coming to India, Gandhiji was in South Africa. And what kind of role he played in South Africa and what kind of movement he started in South Africa, let's discuss this. So, role of Gandhiji in South Africa. Mahatma Gandhi went to South Africa for some legal work in 1893. As we all know, Mahatma Gandhi was a lawyer by profession, वकील थे वो. So for legal work or any kind of important work, he went to the South Africa and he stayed longer there. During the situation at those time, he seen the problems the faced by the people by the British rule. As we all know, Britishers ruled in India as well as they ruled in many parts of the country at that time. Even South Africa were under the control of the Britishers, and like India, the Britishers also harassing the people in South Africa also. So Gandhiji started movements against the in people so that it will get more support and people should raise their voice against injustice. Mahatma Gandhi went to South Africa for some legal work in 1893. South Africa was a colony of the British. What a colony means? Under the control of the British. Many Indians had settled there for business, trade and such other work. So many Indians had settled in South Africa for maybe the trade, business or for any other work. The Indians in South Africa were treated as criminal and humiliated all the time. So always the Britishers treat the Indians that living in South Africa as the criminal, and they were humiliated means a kind of injustice to them, उनको परेशान करना, cruelty करना. So this kind of situation was there in South Africa at that time. In 1906, the British government has passed a law that every Indian or non-Britishers, they need to carry the identity card. In their own country, they are considered as the slaves. They are not getting any kind of priority, not any kind of rights or not any kind of support. In 1906, the government declared that it was compulsory for the blacks to carry an identity card and their freedom was restricted as well. So they had put the restriction that every black will carry the identity card. Here, black doesn't means the color of the skin. Here, black means non-Britishers. Britishers are considered as the white people and non-Britishers are considered the black people. Even a person who is non-British and if he is a fair, again it's considered as the black. समझे? यहाँ पे गोरा काला स्किन कलर से नहीं बोल रहे. ब्रिटिशर्स को गोरे कहा जाते थे और नॉन ब्रिटिशर्स को काले. भले वो नॉन ब्रिटिशर्स कोई गोरा इंसान भी हो फिर भी उसको काला ही कहा जाता था. And the same situation happened with Mahatma Gandhi also. An incident that completely shook Mahatma Gandhi was that once Mahatma Gandhi was traveling in a train in South Africa, he took the ticket for the first class compartment and he sat in the first class compartment. When the ticket collector or ticket checker came to the compartment, he asked Mahatma Gandhi that you are not able to sit in this compartment because this compartment is specially kept reserved for the Britishers or the white people. Mahatma Gandhi said that why it's so. I had bought the ticket and I had the ticket, but they didn't hear to the Mahatma Gandhi and they throw him out from that compartment. That feeling created aggressiveness in Mahatma Gandhi. But again, as we all know, Mahatma Gandhi always the supporter of non-violence, so he started struggling against the Britishers in a non-violent manner. Gandhiji followed the path of Satyagraha against the injustice and gained justice for the people. So Gandhiji arrives in India. On 9th January 1915, Gandhiji returned to India from South Africa. And as per the suggestion of Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he made a tour to the entire nation. So when Gandhiji came to the India, as he already seen the situation of Britishers in South Africa and he was an educated person, he also know the situation of India. So he want to bring a change in our country in India. So he started to support the freedom struggle. So at that time, since he was not very much aware of the situation of the country, Gopal Krishna Gokhale suggested him that you should make a tour. You should travel to the different parts of the country and you will see the condition and situation. And after knowing the situation and condition, then you are very much capable to fight with the British government. As suggested by Gopal Krishna Gokhale, he made a tour of the entire nation. He became sad looking at the misery and poverty of the people. So seeing the situation or the critical condition of the people, Gandhiji was very much upset. He took up vow of service to the nation. So he dedicated his life for the service of the nation. So he took up the vow means he had decided that I will serve my whole life for the welfare of the country or for the independence of our country. He stayed at Sabarmati Ashram at Ahmedabad. He followed a new technique of Satyagraha to gain justice for common people. As we all know, Gandhiji started his movement from the Sabarmati Ashram. It's in Ahmedabad. And since he is a follower of Satyagraha and with the help of Satyagraha, he gained justice for the common people. Philosophy of the Satyagraha. What do you mean by philosophy? ये philosophy का मतलब क्या होता है? Philosophy मतलब बेटा belief, आपकी सोच, आपकी thinking, आप क्या सोचते हो, कैसे believe करते हो. कभी कभी अभी हमने लास्ट चैप्टर में पढ़ा था, both extremist and moderate, they are struggling for the India's freedom, but again they have a different view. दोनों की सोच अलग थी. मॉडरेट बहुत ही कूल और काम थे, बट जो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट थे वो थोड़े एग्रेसिव थे, जिसकी वजह से उनके थॉट्स मैच नहीं करते थे. तो इसी तरह से सबकी फिलॉसफी, सबकी थिंकिंग, सबकी बिलीफ अलग होती है. अब इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द फिलॉसफी ऑफ सत्याग्रह, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज अ सत्याग्रह? अ कॉमन पर्सन कैन एक्सेप्ट द पाथ ऑफ सत्याग्रह. सत्याग्रह के लिए कोई डिग्री या कोई आपको एग्जामिनेशन क्लियर नहीं करना है. If you are a dedicated person and you want to do something for the society, then you just need to follow two things, truth and non-violence. If you are very much enough that you will follow this path, then you are be a satyagrahi. Gandhiji brought in a novel technique of satyagraha in the popular movement. Satyagraha means insistence of truth. What is insistence? Presence, सच्चाई. आपने हमेशा देखा गांधी जी के बारे में पढ़ा है, सुना है. आपने शायद लगे रहो मुन्ना भाई भी मूवी देखी होगी, जहाँ पे गांधी जी के थॉट्स और बिलीफ्स को बताया गया है कि गांधी जी भले मुसीबत में हो, भले प्रॉब्लम में हो, बट वो झूठ नहीं बोलते हैं. और कहीं ना कहीं उनकी बातों से हमें भी कुछ सीखना चाहिए, हमें भी लाइफ में उसी रास्ते पे चलना चाहिए. The main objective of Satyagraha is through patience and Satyagraha, an unjust person is made aware of truth and justice and also bring transformation in his views. What is transformation? Change. Views means thought. So the main concept of the Satyagraha is that in the peaceful manner, we will try to bring a change in the mind of the person who is doing cruelty. इसका मतलब क्या है? वो इंसान जो हमें परेशान कर रहा है, जो हमें तकलीफ पहुंचा रहा है, हमें उसे नुकसान नहीं पहुंचाना, उसे हमें कुछ अटैक नहीं करना है, बट हमें ऐसी कोशिश करनी कि हमें उसके माइंड को बदलना है. और शायद आप लोगों ने जो अभी मैंने मूवी कहा, उस मूवी में एक दो सीन में आपने देखा होगा जहाँ पे लोग एक दूसरे के थॉट्स को चेंज करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे. इफ़ यू रिमेंबर दैट सीन, अ पर्सन ऑलवेज स्पिट्स आउटसाइड. स्पिट्स मीन्स थूकना. स्पिट्स आउटसाइड another person's door. So day by day he just smiling and cleaning in front of him. So that brings a change in the society. Even we should try such kind of things in our classroom, in our day-to-day life, or in our family, that we should bring change with the help of the methods of Gandhiji or the thoughts of Gandhiji. A person following Satyagraha, any person, a common person can follow Satyagraha, but he or she should never use violence and untruth means, was the teaching of Gandhiji. So this is a simple way that you should also, or anyone also can follow the Satyagraha. Later, not only in India, but most of the countries followed the path of Gandhiji. Like South Africa, already we know a great person called Nelson Mandela. Like how we called Mahatma Gandhi as a father of nation. After when Gandhiji came to India, Nelson Mandela done a hard work in South Africa. Later, not only in India, but in many parts of the world, people adopted the path of Satyagraha to fight against injustice. Adopted means accepted. Gandhiji's path of Satyagraha made an impact on Martin Luther King, who was struggling for the rights of the blacks in America. Even in America also, there is a certain kind of the discrimination between the people. At that time, Martin Luther King also fought with the help of Satyagraha, and as well as Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Okay. Next, Champaran Satyagraha. Champaran Satyagraha is considered as the first movement that started by the Mahatma Gandhi in India. So Champaran is a district, it's in Bihar. In Bihar, the farmers of Champaran region were forced to cultivate indigo. As we had seen, Britishers forced the farmers to grow certain kinds of crops so that Britishers get more and more income and more profit from that crop. And they forced the farmers to grow indigo. As we all know, indigo is a kind of drug from which the Britishers are getting more money, or it is called the cash crop. The cultivators suffered economically since they received fixed amount from the planters. And as we all know, because the cultivators, the farmers, they are not getting much benefits from such kind of crop, because they are getting a fixed amount, and out of that they can't able to survive on that amount on that crop. So they took the help of Mahatma Gandhi and started the struggle against the Britishers. Gandhiji went to Champaran in 1917. As we know, Gandhiji moved to the different parts of the country and he seen the situation. So seeing the condition, the critical condition of the farmers, he started the movement at Champaran. That is called as Champaran Satyagraha. Gandhiji went to Champaran in 1917. Remember the year? In which year Gandhiji came to India? Gandhiji came in India in 1915. Remember, these are the important years or the event which needs to be remembered. Gandhiji went to Champaran in 1915. He organized the farmers in Champaran and launched agitation by following the way of Satyagraha. Agitation means is a kind of action against someone, but by the means of Satyagraha. As we all know, Satyagraha, it depends upon the truth and non-violence. Gandhiji's first war of independence in India became successful and the farmers were given justice. Right? So it is considered as the Gandhiji's first war of independence in India became successful and the farmers were given justice. Next is Kheda district. Kheda is a district, it's in Gujarat. So what was the Kheda Satyagraha? As we all know, the situation or the farmers or the workers are not good in our country during the Britishers' time. So Gandhiji started to fight against the situation that has been created by the Britishers. Due to the constant famines in Kheda district. What is famine? Famine means when we don't have sufficient rain. Right? Due to such situation, there is a scarcity of food. प्रॉपर क्रॉप्स नहीं होते हैं, क्रॉप्स फेल हो जाते हैं तो खाने की कमी पड़ जाती है. तो इससे क्या होता है, जब खेतों में सूखा पड़ जाता है, ज़मीन बंजर हो जाती है, व्हेन वी डोंट हैव अ प्रॉपर सप्लाई ऑफ फूड ग्रेन्स, So people suffered, basically the farmers suffered, and as we all know, at that time Britishers had fixed the land revenue tax. Even if your crop fail, you should pay the tax. You need to pay the tax. If you won't pay the tax, then Britishers will capture your land, or even they will kill you, or even they will punish you. So this kind of situation was very much crucial. Due to constant famines in Khera district, Gujarat, the crop had failed. Still, land tax was forcibly collected by the government. As we all know, even the crops failed. The Britishers are forcefully collected the tax with the farmers. Gandhiji suggested that the farmers should refuse to pay the tax. The farmers began the movement for scraping of tax at Kheda in 1918. Gandhiji accepted the leadership of this movement. So when Gandhiji heard about the situation, he went there and he supported the farmers in their movement. And this satyagraha happened in the year 1918. Within a short period of time, the government suspended the tax. So within a short period of time, within a short period, the government suspended the tax. Suspend tax means they cancelled the tax. Workers' movement at Ahmedabad. Same kind of situation happened in Ahmedabad also, where workers are not getting salary on time, or not getting a proper salary, and even they need to work for the longer hours. Even they didn't get any kind of medical help or any medical facility or any kind of housing facility. So Gandhiji raised his voice against the injustice then done with the workers at Ahmedabad. Workers movement at Ahmedabad. During the First World War, there was great inflation. What is inflation? Inflation means price rise. जब महंगाई बढ़ती है उसे इंग्लिश में या फिर उसे इकोनॉमिक टर्म में इन्फ्लेशन कहते हैं. Mill workers demanded for rise in salary. So mill workers also demanded for rise in salary because the commodities are very much costlier. They are not able to survive. But the mill owners rejected this demand. As usual, mill owners rejected their demand. As per Gandhiji advice, the workers went on hunger strike. What does the hunger strike means? In Hindi we call it the Bhuk Hartal. So workers went on a hunger strike. Finally, the mill owners had to back off, and salary of workers was increased. So seeing the situation, mill workers realized and they back off, and they had increased the salary of workers. Next is Satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act. As we all know, the most of the act that introduced by the Britishers are on the name of any British officer. So here, the Rowlatt Act was introduced by the British officer named Rowlatt. So what was exactly the Rowlatt Act? Rowlatt Act was a kind of injustice that was introduced in the system, because with this act, any person can be sent to jail without any inquiry or without any, you can say, the arrest warrant. So it's a kind of injustice. In the First World War, the Indians had helped the Britishers. The Indians felt that after the World War is over, there will be a system of governance for taking decisions for well-being of the Indians. So since during the time of First World War, as we all know, First World War happened in 1914 to 1918. At that time, Indians thought that we had supported the Britishers in the First World War, so the situation has been now changed. British will support us or give any kind of facility to us. There was growing unrest among the Indians regarding the increasing prices or taxes. So people are not very much satisfied with the British policies due to the price rises and the taxes. To suppress this discontent, to stop this discontent, to stop this aggression of the people, British introduced this law that is called the Rowlatt Act. As we all know, the different acts like Simon Go Back, and in previous also we had seen so many acts that British introduced to suppress the people or the movements of Indian. So to suppress this discontent and to suggest measure about it, a committee was appointed under Sir Sidney Rowlatt. The name of the person, the name of the officer was Sir Sidney Rowlatt. So under his chairmanship, a committee was formed and they introduced the Rowlatt Act. So according to the recommendations, what are recommendations? Recommendations, suggestions. So this committee has recommended, they have given a suggestion about the law. What was that law? According to recommendation of this committee, a new law was passed without considering the opposition of Indian members in Central Legislative Assembly on 17th March 1919. So this law was introduced on 17th March 1919. Even at that time, our Indians, those who are in the assembly, they opposed it. But again, since British want to pass such kind of law to control the movement. So they passed this law. This act gave the right to the government. So what kind of this act was? This right gave the, sorry, this act, when an act means law, this act gave the right to the government to arrest anybody without any warrant or imprison without any trial. So this act had given the power to the Britishers that they can arrest anyone without any warrant. We know the meaning of warrant. We had seen in so many movies that while arresting someone, we need a letter that has been authorized by respective person, maybe the judge or the those who are involved in the law. So basically, to arrest anyone, we need or authority need a warrant. But at that, as per the law, they doesn't need this warrant. Even the people or the person, those who are arrested, they are sent to jail without any court trial. What is a court trial? Court trial means court proceedings. द कोर्ट में जो भी होते हैं ना, सबूत पेश करना, वहाँ पे डिस्कशन करना, सो दिस थिंग वोंट बी देयर, दे डायरेक्टली सेंड टू द जेल. सो इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ इनजस्टिस. नहीं, ज़बरदस्ती है, किसी भी कॉमन इंसान को भी वो जेल में डाल सकते हैं, किसी को भी गिरफ्तार कर सकते हैं. सो ये बहुत ज़्यादा एक तरह से जुल्म था ब्रिटिशर्स का. Appeal was prohibited against the punishment given through this act. Even a person can't appeal against this act or against the punishment given through this act. If a person not involved in any activity, not involved in any movement, if a Britishers had arrested and sent him to a jail, he won't able to appeal against such kind of activity, because this act doesn't give any kind of right to the Indians. Appeal was prohibited. What was prohibited? Stopped. Against the punishment given through this act, the Indians called this act as the Black Act. And since it was not an injustice, so Indians called it the Black Act, and a tide of anger arose all over India against this act. A tide of anger is a wave. सब जगह पे एक तूफान की तरह फैल गया था लोगों के अंदर, माइंड में, और लोग इसको अपोज कर रहे थे. On Gandhiji launched a satyagraha against it. So Gandhiji thought to launch, to start a satyagraha against this act. On 6th April 1919, he appealed to the Indians to follow Hartal all over India against the act. So on 6th April 1919, Gandhiji requested people to follow the Hartal. Hartal means strike all over the country against this act. Indians responded to this appeal on a large scale, and Indians supported the decision of the Gandhiji, and they had nationwide Hartal on 6th April 1919. So due to this act, British has restricted so many things. The people are not allowed to gather in a group. They are not allowed to celebrate any festival. They are not allowed to arrange any meeting. So due to this such things, there was an incident called Jallianwala Bagh massacre. What is a massacre? Massacre means a large number of killing. Right. So due to this Jallianwala Bagh massacre, there was an incident where innocent people were killed by the Britishers. So what exactly was the story? We will discuss in this paragraph, and you also search in the Google or in the YouTube about the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Then you will exactly come to know the injustice of the Britishers or the cruelty of the Britishers, where they killed the innocent people. A place called Jallianwala Bagh. It's in Amritsar. Most of us have visited the Golden Temple that's situated in Amritsar. So it is just nearby the Golden Temple. It's a place. It's also, now it has a good historical site, but in past it was just an open ground. It was the day of Baisakhi, when people came together and they just want to celebrate with each other, and they just want to discuss about the situation of the country. They were not aware of the Rowlatt Act. They were not aware of the situation. So just they were met with each other and they just discussed. Even there are the small children, even the elderly person, and they were all are without the arms, because they came together to just celebrate. So when the British came to know about this gathering, they just came there, and they ordered their soldiers to fire on the people, and thousands of people are killed brutally by the Britishers. And the person who are involved in it is General Dyer. General Michael O'Dwyer was the person who was responsible for such kind of massacre. Jallianwala Bagh massacre. The movement that aroused against the Rowlatt Act took over a fierce form in the province of Punjab. All over the country there was agitation against the Rowlatt Act, but it has been seen that in Punjab it was very much fierce, very much strong. Amritsar became the main center of this movement, and Amritsar became the main center of this movement. The government had started the spate of suppression. Gandhiji was prohibited from entering the province of Punjab. As we know, to stop such kind of situation, Britishers always tried to keep away the leaders from such a region or the territory. So at that time, Gandhiji was not allowed to enter in the Punjab province. General Dyer issued orders of ban on public meetings in Amritsar. So General Dyer, he ordered on the ban for any public meeting. Important leaders like Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Kichlu were arrested for their involvement in Amritsar Hartal case. Even leaders like Dr. Satyapal, Dr. Kichlu, they were involved in the Hartal that has been done on 6th of April. So on the basis of that, Britishers arrested them, and so many leaders were sent behind the prison. As a protest against this, on 13th April 1919, on a Baisakhi day, we all know Baisakhi is a festival, the people of Amritsar assembled a place named Jallianwala Bagh. Assembled means gathered. So it was the incident of 13th April 1919 when a people gathered at a Jallianwala Bagh to celebrate the Baisakhi or to discuss about the situation and what kind of action they need to take for the freedom struggle. General Dyer arrived with armed forces. So General Dyer came with the armed forces. The place was enclosed from all sides and had only one small gate. So the place was covered by the boundary walls and only one entry gate was there, and the soldiers had captured that gate and they started to fire on the innocent people. The place was enclosed from all sides and had only one small gate. General Dyer positioned his army and closed down the only gate, because it was the only gate there, without giving any prior notification to the disarmed innocent people, and even not they give any kind of warning to the innocent people, because they were gathered not to attack on Britishers or not to create any violence, and they are without the arms. So it was the responsibility of the Britishers or the General Dyer to just give them a warning, at least a simple warning. If the people are not listening to the warning and they're not following the warning, then if they take the action, that it can be justified. But directly attacking the innocent people is not justified. Without giving any prior notification, or you can say a warning to the disarmed innocent people, he ordered his soldier to fire. 1660 rounds has been fired. Rounds means you can say bullets. So imagine almost 2000 bullets have been fired on the innocent people. The army continued firing until the ammunition was over. The army continued to fire on the innocent people till their ammunition, till their bullets not over. In this massacre, about 400 people, including men and women, were killed. Almost 400 men and women are killed and thousands of people had been injured. Many people were wounded. Wounded means injured. After firing, curfew was announced. And the worst situation was that after this incident, the curfew was introduced in the city. We all know the meaning of curfew. Curfew means the kind of emergency, or you can say the lockdown. So at that time, the people won't get proper medical facility also. People are not able to get any proper transport to reach to the hospitals, to reach to the medical centers. So you can imagine the situation, the worst condition happened that time. After firing, curfew was announced and hence immediate treatment to the injured could not be made available. In entire Punjab, military law was enforced and many were sent to jail by the government. So and at that time, the Britishers introduced the military law, so there will be a strict situation and common people face this crisis. General Michael O'Dwyer, governor of Punjab, was responsible for this massacre. And as we all know, Michael O'Dwyer or General O'Dwyer was the person who was responsible for this massacre. But he was not punished. Even Britishers sent him back to the England, because they knew that if General O'Dwyer will stay in India, that any Indian or any revolutionary will kill him. So to save his life, they didn't take any action and sent the General O'Dwyer to the England. So you can see the thinking or the mentality of the British to harm the common people. All over India, there was protest against this act. Once this news was spread all over the country, the people are very much enraged. As a protest against this massacre, Rabindranath Tagore gave away the title of Sir bestowed on him by the British government. So people had started to boycott the British authorities, British service, British job. Even they had started to boycott the British goods. Even they had started to ignore the Britishers, or they had started the movement. At that time, Rabindranath Tagore gave away his title that was given by the Britishers named Sir. As we all know, Rabindranath Tagore was respectfully called as Sir Rabindranath Tagore. But he gave back his title Sir to the Britishers and said that I don't want such kind of respect from the people who are not the humans. Later, Indians demanded for inquiry of this massacre, hence the British government appointed the Hunter Commission. So Indians demanded for the inquiry of such kind of incident. So Britishers appointed a committee named Hunter Commission, but against they didn't do well to find any kind of resolution or to find any kind of problem. Khilafat movement. What was the Khilafat movement? Khilafat movement was started by the Muslims. Basically, Muslims all over the world, they consider the ruler of Turkey as the messenger of God. So they have a kind of respect to the ruler of Turkey. So during the time of First World War, to gain the support from the Muslims, Britishers assured them that they should help the British during the war and British won't affect the Turkey. But as we all know, Britishers don't keep their words, and Britishers had attacked the Turkey and they killed the ruler of Turkey. This create a problem within the Muslims and they started a movements against the Britishers named the Khilafat movement. Muslims all over the world regarded the ruler of Turkey as their religious leader. During the First World War, Turkey fought against the British. To get support of the Indian Muslims in the war, the British has assured that after the end of the war, Khalifa's empire will not be harmed. Khalifa means the ruler of Turkey is called as the Khalifa. So Britishers assured that to get the help from the Muslims, they assured that they won't harm the territory or the region of Khalifa. But after the end of the First World War, British did not stick to their assurance. They did not stick to their words. So they harmed the Khalifa. A tide of great discontent arose among the Muslims. The movement started by Indian Muslims to support the Khalifa was called Khilafat movement. So the movement that started by the Muslims against the British is called as the Khilafat movement. Gandhiji thought that on this problem, if the Hindus and Muslims come together and start a national movement, then the government can surely be brought to its sense. So Gandhiji thought, why we will be fighting for the same cause separately, while Muslims and Hindu have their own movement. Let's come together and we have a strength of unity and then we can fight with the Britishers. Therefore, Gandhiji supported the Khilafat movement. The Khilafat committee accepted Gandhiji's proposal of following non-cooperation movement to the government. Hindu-Muslim unity was seen especially during this period. So with the suggestion or with the discussion with Gandhiji, the Muslim leader agreed to join hands with the freedom struggle and they also supported the non-cooperation movement. So in this sense, we had seen the Hindu-Muslim unity for our freedom struggle.